Welcome to the Contractor's Secret Weapon Radio Podcast, the show dedicated to helping contractors, remodelers, painters, roofers, and others in the construction industry gain an unfair advantage over their competition. Get ready for some inspiration, some encouragement, some proven business building strategies, and a couple of new ideas that can take your business to the next level and beyond. And now, broadcasting from the Contractor's Secret Weapon Studio, it's Pete Mitchell and Dave Negri.
Hey, this is Dave Negri with Contractor's Secret Weapon, your co-host today.
With Pete Mitchell, your co-host for Contractor's Secret Weapon.
And tomorrow, too.
Right, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, before we actually get into today's topic, got an important announcement to make. Tonight, 9 o'clock my time. No, sorry, 7 o'clock my time. I'll be competing in a competition with my rifle, my PCC. I'm really looking forward to this.
All right.
Everyone else will be shooting more than likely an AR-15, but I am taking a 9mm. I'm taking my Ruger PCC, and I'm going to beat them all. With a smaller caliber, less recoil, and it's going to cost me half as much to shoot as all the rest of them. So,
for sure. Yeah.
So I'm looking.
Sounds
forward.
like fun.
Oh yeah, you bet.
You're getting me hooked. I went to a gun show the other day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Didn't have what I wanted. So.
What were you looking for?
Actually, I was looking for Smith & Wesson semi-automatic 22.
Oh, okay.
Just a fun gun for my grandkids.
Yeah. Now, I mean, you cannot beat the price of shooting a 22. You can't beat it.
No, the price of the rifle, I think, is $229, something like that. And, you can get anywhere. I get emails for 3 and 4 cents.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just going to be fun. I was at the range not too long ago with a bunch of guys from church. We can go to an outdoor range. And I'm going, I says, no one would be throwing quarters out in the field.
But nickels, we'll throw nickels all day long.
All day long. But, average 9's 17 cents, 20 cents.
Probably, yeah.
So, yeah. Crazy. We're all crazy. We do what we want when we want to do it. And it really doesn't matter. A lot of people say that, it's they can't afford it. Listen, if they want it, they can afford it.
You spend money on what you want to spend money on. Like if you want to redo your back patio like we did a couple of years back, you'll spend the money to do it. So what do you want to spend your money on?
Yeah, for sure.
And I think the mistake we all make, Dave, is we go, well, I wouldn't spend money on that, therefore no one else will. And that's just not true.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's always somebody willing to spend money. You just got to find it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they raise their hands if you do it right. Oh, I think we're going to talk about that, aren't we?
I believe we are, as a matter of fact. I love the segue. Yeah, so Dave and I have put together basically the 9 steps to go from step 1 to step 9. And we're calling this how to double the number of clients you have in the next 60 days without spending any more money on advertising. I think 1 or 2 people might be interested in knowing how to do that.
I would hope so.
I would hope, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would think so. I know we've got some smart people out there.
Yeah. So what we did is we put this together. And by the way, you can, in the show notes, there's a link. You can download this. But we've kind of broken it up into 3 main categories. I call it the ABCs of marketing: audience, bait, channel, right? So the first 3 steps are under audience. Step number 1 is narrow your focus to your perfect avatar.
That's a movie, isn't it?
It's not only a movie, it's a lifestyle for some of us. But I mean, how many times, Dave, have people said, oh, well, if they can breathe, they're my ideal client? It's like, no.
Yeah, no.
Oh, if they own a home, they're no, that's not your ideal client. I mean, you got to narrow your focus.
They're somebody's ideal client, but not necessarily yours.
Right. Yeah.
But it could be.
One of the things I'm always dealing with my detailers that I work with is, they've been sold this lie that anybody with a car is a potential client. And it's like, no, look, someone driving around in a 1995 Ford Focus is not your ideal client. Like, just, it isn't. You got to get out of that mindset. If they have a car or a boat or a motorcycle, they're your ideal client. It's just not the case. Now, a little bit closer might be if you are, which we've got aviation detailers.
Sure, I've seen them. Yeah.
If you're, maybe anybody with a plane. But even then, I would still say there's plenty of people who have low-end planes that have no intention of ever detailing them. So, even then, not that good. But you got to narrow your focus down to your perfect avatar. So what that means, guys, is you really got to spend some time and figure out who exactly are you trying to reach. Like Dave and I have kind of hinted at the fact that we're putting together a great little event coming up here, but it's not for everybody. I mean, it's just not. It's not for the pressure washer who is struggling to make $5,000 a month. It's not for them. I mean, you got to have your ideal avatar, right? The perfect person who you're trying to target.
Or the painting contractor that just paints 1 and 2 bedrooms at a time. It's just not going to work for you.
Right.
Someday it might, but today it's not.
Right. Step number 2, craft what I call your instant response ad to be about them. I mean, I don't know how many times Dave has talked about this. I've talked about this. Your marketing is not about you if you want it to attract someone.
Or your dog.
Right. I mean, I got, you guys can't see it, but I got this great wall over here. It's got our company core philosophy on it. Lots of little pictures. And one of them, it says, always 2 conversations. It's to remind us there's always 2 conversations going on. Conversation in your head and the conversation in their head. You got to enter the conversation going on in their head. And that means your ad can't be about you because they don't care about you. Nowhere in their thinking is, oh, well, that Dave guy, blah, blah, blah. They're thinking about themselves.
And, so you got to we all have big egos. And, we always are so self-impressed with the name of our company. So we put that first. They really don't care about your name of your company. They care about what you can do for them.
Yep. That's it. Step number 3 is pre-sell and pre-sort your prospects so you only deal with the hot prospects. How many times, Dave, have you heard people saying, oh, there's too many tire kickers? You don't want to deal with tire kickers.
No, they pre-qualify them. Man, if you do it right, you can do it in your marketing.
Right. And that's the whole key right there is you have your system pre-sell and pre-sort them. I mean, by the time I talk to someone, they're pre-sold, right? So for me to get on the phone with someone, it's really about 2 things, making sure that whatever my solution is that they're calling about is really going to be the right fit for them and to answer any questions that they have, right? Because I don't want someone blowing their money on something that's not going to be the right solution.
No, not at all.
But so that's part of what my purpose for getting on a phone call with someone is just make sure it's the right thing. And then they've got questions, right, that only I can answer. And so I'm going to answer those questions for them. So pre-selling and pre-sorting your prospects so you're only dealing with the hot prospects. Step number 4, create your lead bait. So this is really important because just like how you can't have advertising that's all about you, your lead bait has to speak to them. It's got to be something that's important to them. You got to be addressing those questions that are going on in their head. So I'm gonna go back to my detailers again as a great example, because we were talking about this yesterday. We do a call a couple of times a month, and one of the things that's like really popular in the detailing world is putting on sealants and coatings, they're called. And I can never remember I can't keep them straight, right? One of them lasts for 5 years. The other one lasts for like 6 months. So the consumer would be totally confused by this. In fact, our consumer guide for it, the thing that they advertise is something like everything you ought to know about paint correction, sealants, coatings, and that thing the dealer tried to sell you in the finance office, right? Because the consumer has no clue how any of this stuff works, right? And so we explain it to them. But the reason why that's effective lead bait is if you've got someone who's like, hey, I'm going to be buying this new car and I want to have, something done to it. I want to, whatever it is. And you address them by saying, hey, by the way, I got this great little consumer guide over here that explains the ins and the outs of all this. That's going to attract the right person to you. And they're going to go, yeah, well, that's exactly what I wanted to know about. That's exactly what I need to know about so I can make the right decision for my vehicle. And the same thing is true in the contracting world. If you're a roofer, people want to know, how do I choose the right contractor? Like, understand this. The average person, when they look at a contractor, contractors do not have a good reputation.
Like used car salesman.
Yeah, maybe, hopefully not as bad as a used car salesman. Yeah. It's just people perceive it as a lot bigger mistake, right?
Yeah.
Like, you pick the wrong contractor, maybe it's a roofer that could cost you an extra $5,000 to $8,000 by picking the wrong one. One of my really good buddies, man, did he pick the wrong contractor. This guy was literally doing a rebuild on his house. Turns out he ended up being like a total druggie and basically took all their money and ran and filed for bankruptcy. And
that makes it hard for the guys that are really trying to do a legitimate job.
Exactly.
And so, that's why I always, and I know Pete prefaces it too, stuff like this is sometimes a pain in the neck to put together, but it puts you one step above everybody else as far as professionalism.
Right.
Because even though they may or may not read it, they're going, wow, this guy's taking the time to educate me on the ins and the outs of what I should be expecting. And the nice part about it is, even if they don't do business with me, I've educated them enough to make an intelligent decision on whoever they do business with.
Right. Yep. That's it. Step number 5, get reviews from past clients just like them. So here's what I mean by that. Reviews are so important. I mean, they're basically today's testimonials, right? Before someone hires a carpet cleaner, before they hire someone to redo their bathroom, to remodel their bedroom, whatever it might be, before they hire someone to do that, you can bet they're checking out the review sites, right? Absolutely. They're going to be going to Angie's List. They're going to be going to Yelp, obviously, is going to be the biggie. Google reviews, all of that stuff. And you've got to have that. I mean, those are today's testimonials. Not only do you want to have testimonials on your website, but you want to have them all over the internet. So that way when people do go and check up on you, they're like, hey, this is exactly the person who I want to be working with. And I know that because, look, I'm reading this testimonial over here, this review, and this is someone who's just like me. And that gives them confidence that you're the right person for them to utilize. And
the reviews are more powerful than testimonies on your website.
Yeah.
Because most people think, he wrote it,
Right.
put somebody's name on it. But on the reviews, you can't do that.
Right.
It's single, individual.
Yep.
So you, and it's, honestly, it's not too bad. A lot of people say, well, what if somebody gives me a bad review? Well, you know what? Bad reviews can be good. All depends on how you handle them.
Yeah.
Because now you have an opportunity to respond to the review. So
people
even
know
if
that there are crazy people out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
and if you got, if you're 4.5 and you get somebody gives you a 1 and because of something dumb, then, people are looking at the averages and they're going to discount it. But you can respond. That's the nice part about what I like about Google reviews is that when you get one, I get a response. Tells me somebody just left me a review. Then I can go and thank them, or I can go and, I don't get too many bad ones, but if I did, I would go in and just apologize and see how could I make it better.
Right.
Because you're responding.
There's a guy that both you and I know pretty well. And I remember before I went through his training program, I Googled him. And he had one really bad review. Like, it was a horrid review. But it was on a site where the guy was able to post his review, and then he could respond to it. And so, you could see this conversation going on. And by the time you got to the end of it, because he would respond, and then the other guy who originally complained would go in there and say his piece, and then he'd come back and say something else. By the time you read all the way through it, you're like, okay, that guy is crazy.
Yeah.
Not our friend, but the
guy that was complaining. Yeah.
The guy you're just like, okay, that guy's out of his mind. Okay. I can't take anything he's saying as he's the right. He's totally not in the right. And that's the beauty of being able to respond. But that's why it's so important how you respond. I got one client who runs a pawn shop, and when he gets a bad review, he wants to go in there and start defending it and what they did and this, that, and the next. I'm like, dude, man, no, just own it. Right.
Yeah.
Instead of
own it.
You just own it. Man, I'm sorry this was your experience. We really want to make this better. Here's what we're going to do for you. And, come on in and, just own it. Own that this person experienced something bad, instead of you going, well, it was a busy day and I'm sorry I couldn't get to you fast enough and blah, blah. Because that's not owning it.
And it's making the other guy more legitimate.
Exactly. Because then people are going to look at that and going, okay, these guys are kind of jerks over there. And besides that, this guy's in the pawn shop industry. That's already not like seen as a great industry to be dealing with. So step number 6, you got to automate the nurture system. Automation is the key to having a successful business. If you don't automate your business, you don't automate the getting of reviews, you don't automate the follow-up with leads, all that stuff, what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up with a lot of work that you got to do all the time and not enough business. So no one wants that. More work and not enough money for it. Basically not enough profit for all the work you got to do.
And it does. The more you can automate, the better off you are. And if you can get it down to a one-touch system, boom. I was at a seminar for our other business over the week, actually Monday. And we talked to a guy that has same size title company we have. And he just got a whole new software system that actually he had to build. And it was kind of expensive. But he said, I didn't know nothing about it, but I wasn't going to let anybody else do it because then I'm going to be held hostage.
Yep.
If something goes wrong. So he said, I built it. He says, but now, he says, there's so much paperwork in the title insurance business that it goes click and it all puts it all together. And I go, what? Click and it all puts together. He said, and he showed it. He created a chat bot for his website in the same software, which was awesome. Boom. So he did something. I want to do title title, and they come back and they give them 3 ways. Which one do you want? You want to do this, this, or this, and then 1, 2, or 3. Then another, you push that, and it was just amazing. I said, okay. I said, in that system, can I automate the marketing? He said, you can automate anything. I says to my daughter, I says, we need this. We really need this.
Right. Because
if you can cut, like he says, if you can cut 10 minutes out of, doing one thing, that's the one thing. But if you can cut, at the end of the day, each person 30 minutes or an hour, he said, that's a lot of time. He says, now you've got time to spend it with your clients.
Yeah. That's it.
So, automation is not to get rid of people. It is to make your workload easier and for you to build better and longer lasting relationships with the people you do business with, because nobody's doing that.
Right. Yep. That's it. Step number 7, using social media to attract an endless stream of clients. Social media for me is one of the primary ways that I get clients. And I think what's going to happen, Dave, is eventually all these companies that are spending, close to $100 billion a year on TV ads are going to wake up and realize, hey, no one's actually watching TV anymore. Everyone's over on Facebook and Instagram and everything like that. And all of a sudden that money's going to come flooding over into those platforms. Mm-hmm. Prices are going to skyrocket. But right now, it's like the Wild West. It is probably one of the best ways to get clients really, really cheap, because your competition, for the most part, isn't on there. They aren't doing things.
No, and they don't understand the targeting aspect of it.
Right.
And the retargeting aspect of it.
Yeah.
Which is dynamite. And, it's just an avenue. It's just another tool. It's not the tool, but it's another tool.
Yep. Step number 8 is mastering the search engine so that you get the buyers that are ready right now. I mean, here's kind of the deal, guys. I can't remember if we've talked about it on this podcast. If we have, it's been a while since we talked about it, but the way I like to look at things is Facebook is kind of like direct mail, and Google is kind of like the yellow pages. So what I mean by that is, back in the day when people actually used the yellow pages, if someone looked up a plumber in the yellow pages, odds are they had a plumbing need. Okay, so that's what we call a buyer. Right?
Yeah, right
they
now.
They have an issue. They need a solution right now. If you just did a letter out to, let's say, 10,000 people, well, that's direct mail. You're just like, hey, I'm going to put it out there, and hopefully, I'm targeting enough of the right people, so that way I'm getting my message in front of enough people that the few that are looking for what I got are going to raise their hand. They're going to enter my sales funnel, basically. And that's what we do with social media. And nothing wrong with that. Just understand that's what it is. But Google, on the other hand, those are buyers. Now people don't use yellow pages. They Google it, right? I mean, they go to Google. They type in what they're looking for, plumber. If someone types in plumber, Rossmore, California, where I live, chances are they're looking for a plumber that works in Rossmore, California, and I bet you they got a plumbing problem. Right?
Yeah, right then and now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Same thing with a roofer. Same thing with a carpet cleaner. Same thing with someone who's looking for someone who does remodeling in, Palm Beach, Florida, right? I mean, that's someone who's got an issue. They're a buyer, and they're looking for a solution. So you want to master that as well. It's not just about social media. It's everything, right? It's all these different places. And finding out how to basically master the search engines is an important thing for your business if you want to capture all that business.
So, and Google helps you out. I got an email today from Google. It says you could be missing out on customer messages.
Right.
So apparently there's on Google My Business, you can open up the SMS on there, and people can just text you from your website now.
Yeah.
I mean, how sweet is that?
It's beautiful.
I mean, and that doesn't cost you any money.
That's right. That's right. Step number 9 is creating direct-to-consumer marketing that generates clients on demand, because the world isn't just digital. People still read the newspaper. People still read magazines. People still get mail. I mean, Dave, you and I are huge believers in direct mail.
Oh, absolutely.
And I kind of love the fact that most people don't use direct mail, because that means there's less competition for me every time.
I know, it's amazing how smaller and smaller and smaller it gets. And it's like, this is crazy. Yeah. Absolutely crazy. It's just an opportunity that just people aren't taking advantage of. At one time, everybody was doing EDM. Hardly anybody does anymore. I've got one guy that's a tree trimming guy, and he runs the same postcard all the time, 20% off. And he hits, I think he runs 20,000 at a time. He's got 4 huge trucks, and he just runs, in certain areas around, gets and around and around and around. And it, every 2 months, I'll get a postcard from him. So I know that, it's successful for him. I would, love to take his marketing budget and cut it in half, and now from all the customers he's got, create a referral rewards for his customers, or something like that. Because he's just spending money to get new business all the time. What's wrong with the business that you already got?
Right. He's not going back to the well. He's not going back to the clients. Yeah. But that right there, guys, is a brief summary here of the 9 steps you want to have an uber successful business. That's it right there. Audience, bait, channel. That's what
I love the bait part.
Yeah. But it's all part of the whole picture. In fact, this is what you and I are going to be, spending these 2 or 3 days, depending on exactly how long this training is going to be. We're still putting it together, but that's what we're going to be doing with everyone, is putting together, going through these 9 steps in their business, helping them format each of these pieces, everything from identifying their avatar to getting their nurturing system in place, to getting the right lead bait, to understanding how to run Facebook ads, to understand how to master Google, to what's the right direct to consumer piece. Should they be running a newspaper ad? Should they be running mail? It's going to be different in every business and every location, but the end result is they're going to have basically everything done. And it's what I call paint by numbers. Then it's just a matter of just painting. That's it. You got it done.
Business by the numbers.
Paint by numbers. See, people don't give paint by numbers credit, man. I'm telling you, paint by numbers is the jam. That's the way you get a really good picture. It's paint by numbers.
As long as you do it in the lines, right?
Even then,
Fingers, it doesn't matter. Just do it.
Artistic. Oh yeah, I'm Van Gogh over here. It's not in the lines. It's pretty. There you go. But that's the secret right there. Those are the secret sauces. The 9 steps to getting from where you are right now to where it is you want to go. So I would recommend to you look in the show notes. There is a phone number that you can text in, a landing page that you can go to. You're going to get these 9 steps, and you're also going to get the report that I just put together, basically how to 8 times your business profits. And that's how we'll notify you when we're going to be putting on the exact dates for this event that Dave and I are putting together, and that's how you'll get in the list to get it. So you want to do that right now. Take advantage of it. Worst case scenario, you're going to get some great ideas from reading the report, from looking at these 9 steps all broken out for you. Best case scenario, you might actually make some money. I like that's how we called, what was it, last week's episode? Worst case scenario, you'll make some money.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the key right there. So that's what I wanted to share. Any other ideas or thoughts that you wanted to bring up, Dave?
No, I don't. That's it's got my brain running.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to go to the show notes. Either go to the link or text in the keyword to the number that's in the show notes right now to get these 9 steps and to get that report that I was just talking to you about. And we will be back next week with another great episode. Take care, everyone.
Take care.